I think I fully realised that the title was what sustainability means. So I'm going to give an overview of sustainability at Carleton and really what we're doing on campus, just to broaden the perspective from this side of things. So first of all, one of the questions I think we should be posing is why should Carleton be doing anything about sustainability in the first place? Is it really the institution's the business role to be looking into this? There's a lot of evidence around in terms of the science going on at the moment. Just last week, ahead of the UN Climate Summit, there was an announcement that the period May to August was actually the hottest on record. So clearly there's the science that's backing this. And one of the things here from the Climate Summit was actually the debate is over. There's no debate about whether climate change is happening. It is happening. And institutions such as businesses and universities should be doing something about it from that perspective. Secondly, there's public opinion and perhaps government opinion as well, and this transcends down to the local level. So we had the climate march just last weekend, UN summit going on this week. So there's definitely an opinion around it about why we should be acting upon this, and that really does translate down to the university level. So this is a quote that suggests that almost 70% of our students would apply to a school or a university and they'll be influenced by the college's commitment towards environmental issues. So I don't know if that applies to you guys, but there is the suggestion there that students do care about this and students do look for this in a university when they're applying for that. So what exactly are we doing here at Carleton? How are we playing our part? It's a broad topic. We've got three other speakers talking about this. So how is Carleton University trying to play its part in this? We have a number of sustainability programs going on. So before I came into place, I've been into place about a year. We launched the Sustainability Strategic Plan. It's quite a thick document which outlines exactly what we're going to do on campus for the next 5 to 10 years. So it's a very long-term plan. And it looks at everything from energy, water, waste, procurement, and how we're engaging the other parts of the university. So not just from the facility side of things, but things like dining services, parking services, how they're going to play their role in sustainability as well. We also formed, sort of informally tagged, the Green Team. So myself in place, Sustainability's Program Manager. We also now have an Energy Manager on board and a Building Services Manager who's looking at how the buildings are operating. So for the best will in the world, there's no point putting good technology in or the best technology that Liam's researching if actually the users of the building aren't functioning with them and the building's not functioning properly. So we're looking at how things are going on. In terms of sustainability program on a wider remit, we also launched the Energy Master Plan about 2 months ago. So the Energy Master Plan looks at how we're going to build new buildings and how we're going to retrofit the existing buildings we have on campus. So I think one of the things that people always suggest here at Carleton is that there's always some building work going on. And in the pipeline just last week, there's a Sprott new business school and they suggested they've got $10 million for a new building. There's 3 other buildings being suggested. So how are we going to build those in the most sustainable fashion as we can, and how we're going to retrofit the buildings we've got on campus. And that's outlined in the Energy Master Plan. Again, that's a very long-term focused plan for the almost next 20 years in terms of development. We've also committed to STARS. Now STARS is really a benchmark tool that the majority of universities in North America have signed up to. And it doesn't just look at how the facilities are operating, but it also looks at programs and the courses that the university has in place around sustainability. So it's really a very broad remit. We're currently going through the process of looking at that, and then we use that as a benchmark for progress going forward as well. Finally, we have the Eco-Reps program. Best one in the world. 3 people in a university aren't going to make a huge change. You need people on the ground. So Eco-Reps are that for the local level actions. Taking a brief look at the Sustainability Strategic Plan itself. So really it's about embedding sustainability into university across all parts providing targets and the benchmark programs, engaging the community. And one tool, I'll come on to a little bit more, is we have a $1 million fund for projects submitted by the community. So any ideas that students have, that staff have, are funded through the $1 million fund around sustainability projects. That's a big sort of money set aside. In terms of how we're doing and how well we are actually doing on campus, first of all around waste and recycling. So at the moment we're hitting a level of 61% recycling rate, which actually is pretty good industry standard. Back in 2008, so just 5 years ago, we were going less than half our waste was going for recycling, and we're doing particularly well. We have a number of programs in place for that. We're collecting e-waste, we're collecting cartridges, and recently, just a few weeks ago, we sent some mattresses to Africa, so we're reuse rather than sending it down to landfill somewhere in Ottawa. So we've got a big program around recycling. Around travel on campus, well, if you weren't here last year, introduced the car share program to students. We did have car sharing on campus, but it was only targeted for 21 and up, so now we have a car share program on campus for students. We have a bike share program, electronic vehicles, so we're just phasing out sort of the trucks we have in facilities and moving to electronic vehicles on campus as well. So really looking at what else we can do. In terms of energy and carbon emissions, one fact there is that energy costs $12 million a year on campus for Carleton University. It's a huge bill that we have. So one of the big drivers, it might be public opinion, it might be a good thing to do, but actually one of the big drivers is getting that cost down as well. Or if we can maintain that cost. So we use a lot of electricity. So from a baseline of 2009, you can see that actually energy use has decreased by 3.6%. Now the energy master plan is going to be the driver to make sure that we are consistently going down rather than up, and actually new buildings might be being built, but actually our overall energy use continues to decrease, and that's a big target really to have. In terms of water consumption, again, we had a bit of a spike. I don't know quite what happened in 2011. Maybe lots of people drinking water everywhere, I don't know. But actually, water consumption is going down slightly, marginally, 4.6%. But we are building more residences in that time, so you can see that we have increased demand going on. Where possible, and we're having retrofits in residences, we are installing sort of high efficiency water fixtures, and they're saving up to about 60% in residences, so showers, toilets, the like. And we're phasing in water bottle filling stations. So this year we've got planned about 5 stations across campus, in addition to the 15 that we've got. But particularly a water saving measure, but actually it relates back to not using water bottles, etc. And then around sustainable buildings. Well, all our buildings are slowly being certified to what's called Green Globe. So Green Globe is a Canadian version of LEED, which is a sort of a certification for new and existing buildings. So we've committed to achieving at least a 3 Globe standard for all new buildings and large major retrofits. Currently we're averaging about 4, which is pretty consistent. So we've committed to that standard. 8 buildings have been assessed so far, and then internally, informally, we've assessed all our buildings as part of a very similar process that we've piloted, that we've developed, and that we're sharing with other universities in North America. So we originally established and assessed all our buildings back in 2009-10, and we've recently gone through the process of assessing all of them again, and on average they've gone up about 15 to 20% in terms of their improvement based on the retrofit work that we've had going on. So there's some demonstration there in terms of sort of that benchmark, in terms of where we are and then where we want to go as well. A little bit wider sustainability in terms of what we're doing within sort of the Carleton community, as you would say. As an example, we've been working with dining services to do an audit of their procurement. So we looked at where the food and all their purchasing was coming from, and we put that in whether it was local, whether it was sustainable, i.e. things like organic certification, or whether it was fair trade. And 27% of all their purchasing fell within one of those three measures. Now that's to set a target to achieve 30%. So they're looking at what they can do around procurement. So I think it's Wednesdays, the sort of go local Wednesdays where the meals are purchased locally as much as possible. We're also working with our facility services, so our cleaning contractor around a green plan. We've got a trial going on in one building. We're expanding that to 2 other buildings for aqueous ozone cleaning, which basically takes out any sort of products that we might buy, and it's utilising the water process for cleaning. And we also did a cleaning chemical inventory to reduce waste as well on campus. We had a real big drive to reducing the amount of waste coming out from chemical purchasing. Finally, I mentioned briefly about the $1 million fund. This is a bit of a plug because this fund only came open this week. So it's open until the end of, or beginning of December. And the idea is that projects are submitted by the community. So we set aside quite a large chunk of money. It was open last year and we had over 30 projects submitted, some students, some faculty, and some sort of facility staff as well. 3 projects were funded last year, including purchase of an electric car. Some building management technology as well went into 3 buildings, is now being piloted, hopefully expanding that out to all so we can really measure and monitor performance in buildings. So if you do have any ideas, either as part of an individually, or as part of your groups, or as part of learning, those ideas can be submitted online on the website to search for sustainability on the department homepage. That is an all too brief overview of what we've been up to sustainability and what sustainability means to Carleton. If you want any more information, it's pretty simple. Carleton.ca Sustainability. You can follow us on Twitter as well. We provide as many updates as we can in terms of what we're doing at CU Sustain. Or my web or my email is philip.mansfield@carleton.ca, so you can email me there for more information as well. Hopefully that's not too brief. It seems very brief, but do find more information and get in touch if you need to. Thank you.